Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how I applied my torn neck silicone prosthetic. First of all, I apologize for the audio. I do not have proper audio equipment at this time, so you're just going to have to bear with me. I've kept this video to about 9 minutes for the sake of time, and all the materials and supplies that I'm using will be linked in the description box below, so go check that out and then we can go get started. So I'm going to start out adding a basic flesh tone color to the prosthetic. This is pink from the W.M Creations Palette. I'm just going to add it over all of the muscle texture and fat texture in the piece. Then I'm going to go in with some prime yellow from the Illustrator Zombie palette. I'm going to add that to all the fatty textures on the top. So these are the high points that I've sculpted out. And then I'm going back over the same fatty texture with tiny little dots of rice paper pigment from the same palette. And then I'm going to soften that just with some alcohol to break it up and give it this nice sort of marbled effect. Once I'm happy with how the colours look, I'm going to move on to the next step, which is placement. Before we put any glue down, we want to get a feel of how the piece is going to sit on the neck. So with this particular piece, I sculpted it so it will sit along the jawline and over the collarbone. And just a quick word on skin prep here. Now would be the time to cleanse the skin with witch hazel, and if you have sensitive skin or if your client has sensitive skin, you could add a barrier like Dermaguard. I don't have sensitive skin, so I'm going straight into glue. Here I'm using good old-fashioned Prosaide, but you could use another adhesive of your choice. And I'm going to put an anchor point right in the center of my neck. Once the glue is dry, it will turn clear, and then you can start to stick the piece on. Press firmly in the middle and then check both sides to make sure that you're happy with where the edges align. And if you're not happy with where it lines up, you can always take that off and then re-glue it again in a different position. I'm happy with where it's sitting, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue the sides. One thing to watch out for when you are gluing down the sides is bubbles getting trapped underneath. Now here you can see one is just about to form, but I'm going to push it out. I've just spotted another bubble that's further up, so I'm going to take some isopropyl alcohol with a brush and gently dig underneath the prosthetic to let that bubble out. Now that I'm happy with how the edges are stuck down, I'm going to move on to the next step, which is removing the flashing band. With some acetone on my brush, I'm going to separate the cap plastic edge from the flashing band, and then I'm going to cut it in half with some scissors and go around the entire prosthetic and remove the band. And then I'm going to use a cotton tip dipped in acetone and just blend out any edges that I think need further blending. Next I'm going in with some Prosaide on a cotton tip just to seal those edges. It helps further disguise them by breaking up the texture of the cap plastic and the skin, so it's like one amalgamated surface. And now I'm going to apply a coat of Ben Nye's Final Seal just to mattify the piece and to also get rid of the stickiness of the Prosaide. To colour match this piece, I'll be using the Zombie palette again. For me, I only use a combination of a few colours, so I'll be using the Prime Yellow, Rice Paper, some of the Midnight Brown, and then later on some of the Vein Tone. So I'm just going to mix that with some alcohol and start flicking it on with this little brush here. With whatever colour I'm flicking on the prosthetic, I like mixing it back with the rice paper just to really soften and dull it down so I'm not adding too much too soon. And now it's time for blood. In this bottle I've got a mixture of arterial mold life blood with a little bit of dishwashing liquid to help prevent the blood from beating up on the silicone, and I'm just going to overfill the wound here, completely saturate it, and then I'm going to knock it back with a paper towel. To add a bit more variation to how the blood looks, I'm going to go in with Rob Smith's Silicone Flow Blood. I really like how thin it is, the colour of it, and how it just streams down a prosthetic quite nicely. And now I'm going back in with a paper towel to reduce the bulk of the blood before I add some KY jelly to the centre just to juice it up a little bit more. With a paper towel dipped in some water, I'm going to further thin out the blood just so it doesn't look too saucy. We're finally done, and this is what the piece looks like with my hair down in the light of the bathroom. And now that my hair is up, you can see a full range of motion. You can move left to right, up and down, with the piece still looking natural and not like you've got a lot of bulk on top of your neck. So you could shoot this from the front, from the side, and it wouldn't look out of place. And now for the most boring part of this whole thing, the removal. I've got some isopropyl Prosaide here, and I'm just going to grab a cotton tip, dip it, and then find an edge and gently work my way underneath the prosthetic. The edges are destroyed by the removal process, so you can only use this one time. And now I'm going in with more remover, cotton pads, and some baby wipes to try and get the glue and the rest of the blood off. Thanks so much for watching my video. If you have any questions at all about any part of this tutorial, leave me a comment in the comment section and I'll be happy to get back to you. See you later.